Ladies and gentlemen, infinite field of possibility before you. Your future is not a fixed destination, it is an open sky stretching beyond what your mind can comprehend. But too often we walk through life believing in limitations, thinking that we are bound by circumstances, by past failures, or by the expectations of others. Let me remind you of a simple but profound truth. The only real limits are the ones you accept as real. You hold the key to your future, not tomorrow, not next year, now. The mind may tell you stories of why you cannot succeed, why you are not ready, or why things cannot change, but you are not your thoughts. Step beyond them, and you will see that the path ahead is wide open. Your past does not define you. It was a lesson, not a sentence. The future you desire does not exist in the distance. It is shaped by how present you are now. If you carry fear, self-doubt, or regret, you are carrying unnecessary weight. Release it. The moment you do, life begins to flow effortlessly and new possibilities arise. The future is often seen as a distant reality, something that will arrive someday, shaped by past experiences and future aspirations. However, the truth is that the future is not separate from the present moment. It is created in the now. Every thought, every action, and every decision taken in this moment shapes what is to come. The power to create a limitless future does not lie in yesterday's regrets or tomorrow's hopes, but in the choices made right now. People often carry the weight of their past as if it defines them, believing that their mistakes, failures, or circumstances have already determined their destiny. This belief creates a mental prison where the past dictates what is possible in the future. However, the past is nothing more than a collection of memories, and memories are simply thoughts. They do not have inherent power unless one continues to hold on to them. The key to unlocking a limitless future is to realize that life is unfolding in this moment, and the past has no control over what can be chosen now. The future does not exist as something fixed. It is not predetermined or set in stone. Instead, it is an open space of infinite possibilities. Yet many people live as if the future is something they must fear or anxiously prepare for, worrying about what might go wrong. They become trapped in mental scenarios, playing out possible failures or disappointments before they even happen. This anxiety about the future removes them from the present, where real power exists. When the mind is consumed by what might happen, it is unable to engage fully with what is happening now. Realizing that the present moment is the only place of true power is liberating. It means that no matter what has happened before or what may come later, right now is where change begins. When people become fully present, they connect with their inner awareness, the part of them that is not controlled by past fears or future worries. From this space, they can make choices that are aligned with their highest potential. Instead of reacting based on old patterns or external expectations, they respond with clarity and purpose. A limitless future does not require struggle or force. It requires presence. When one is fully engaged with the now, life begins to unfold naturally. Opportunities arise, ideas flow, and paths open that were previously unseen. It is not about controlling the future, but about aligning with the intelligence of the present moment. When people let go of resistance and step into the now, they find that life supports them in ways they never imagined. Everything needed to shape a limitless future is already within. It does not require more time, more achievements, or more validation from the outside world. It only requires a shift in awareness, the understanding that true power exists now. The mind is a powerful tool, but it is not who you are. People often identify with their thoughts, believing that whatever arises in their minds must be true. If a thought says, "I am not good enough," they believe it. If a thought says, "I will fail," they accept it as reality. But thoughts are just mental events, passing through awareness like clouds in the sky. They come and go, appearing and disappearing, yet something remains constant. the deeper awareness that observes these thoughts. That awareness is your true self, not the ever-changing content of the mind. When a person believes these thoughts without questioning them, they become trapped in a false identity. They think, I am not capable, when in reality, it is just a conditioned thought, shaped by past experiences or external influences. But who they truly are, the awareness behind those thoughts, is unlimited. The moment a person recognizes this, a profound shift takes place. They begin to see that they are not defined by their fears, nor are they bound by the voice in their head that tells them what they can or cannot do. Imagine standing by a river and watching leaves float by on the surface. Each leaf represents a thought. Some are pleasant, others are negative, but none of them stay forever. If a person grabs onto a particular leaf, they become attached to that thought, carrying it with them as if it were the truth. But if they simply observe, allowing the leaves to pass without clinging to them, they remain free. In the same way, when a person learns to observe their thoughts without identifying with them, they regain control over their inner world. This does not mean ignoring thoughts or pretending they do not exist. Instead, it means seeing them for what they are, temporary patterns of the mind. When a limiting belief arises, one can pause and ask, is this true? Or is this just a conditioned thought? More often than not, the thought has no real foundation. It is simply a story the mind has been repeating. The moment a person stops believing in the thought, its power disappears. A limitless future is only possible when one understands that thoughts do not define reality. What limits people is not external circumstances, but the unquestioned acceptance of limiting thoughts. When someone realizes they are not their thoughts, they gain the ability to step beyond them. They no longer have to obey the voice that says, you can't, you're not ready, or this is impossible. Instead, they can act from a place of inner stillness, where possibilities are endless. The mind will continue to generate thoughts, as that is its nature. But a person does not have to be controlled by them. They can choose which thoughts to entertain and which to let pass. This awareness brings freedom. It allows them to move through life without being held back by fear, insecurity, or self-doubt. It opens the door to a future that is not dictated by the past, but shaped by conscious choice in the present. Limiting beliefs are like invisible walls in the mind. They are not real, yet they create boundaries that determine what a person believes is possible. These beliefs are often formed in childhood, shaped by experiences, society, and the opinions of others. A person may have been told they were not smart enough, not talented enough, or not worthy of success. And over time, these messages became internalized as truth. But in reality, they are just conditioned thoughts, mental programs that can be rewritten at any moment. The first step in letting go of limiting beliefs is recognizing that they exist. Many people move through life unaware of the mental barriers they have accepted. They say, this is just the way things are, without realizing that it is only the way things seem because of the beliefs they hold. For example, someone who believes they are not creative will never attempt to express themselves artistically. Not because they lack creativity, but because their belief stops them from trying. The belief itself is the limitation, not the person. Once a limiting belief is identified, the next step is to question it. Where did this belief come from? Is it based on direct experience, or was it inherited from someone else's perspective? Often, these beliefs were formed when a person was young and had little control over their environment. But just because something was believed in the past does not mean it must be carried into the future. A person can choose to let go of any belief that no longer serves them. One powerful way to break free from limiting beliefs is through direct action. If a person believes they are incapable of speaking in public, the best way to dissolve that belief is to speak, even in a small setting. The moment they take action, the belief begins to weaken because reality does not support it. They realize that they are capable, and the illusion of limitation starts to fade. Each step taken outside of a comfort zone creates evidence that the old belief was never true to begin with. Another key to releasing limiting beliefs is to replace them with empowering ones. Instead of saying, "I am not good at this," one can say, "I am learning and improving." Instead of saying, "This is impossible," one can say, "I am open to new possibilities." The words people use shape their perception of reality, so consciously shifting language can create a shift in belief. The mind is highly adaptable, and when it is fed new positive narratives, it begins to accept them as truth. The truth is that there are no real limits except the ones a person chooses to believe in. The world is filled with stories of individuals who overcame the odds, defied expectations, and achieved what others thought was impossible. They did not have fewer fears or obstacles. They simply refused to accept limiting beliefs as reality. They chose to see themselves as capable, powerful, and worthy. And because they believed in a limitless future, they created one. Every person has this same power. By letting go of mental barriers and stepping into a space of possibility, life expands. There is no force outside of oneself holding them back. Only the thoughts they are willing to release. When a person stops believing in limitations, they step into a future where anything is possible. Change and uncertainty are often seen as obstacles, something to be feared or resisted. The human mind craves stability, predictability, and control. It finds comfort in the familiar, even if the familiar is limiting or unfulfilling. But the truth is, the very nature of life is change. Nothing remains the same. Seasons shift, cells regenerate, and every moment is different from the one before. To resist change is to resist life itself. When a person embraces change and uncertainty, they open themselves to infinite possibilities. Fear of the unknown is one of the greatest barriers to a limitless future. People often hesitate to take risks or step into new experiences because they cannot see the outcome. They want guarantees before they act, reassurance that everything will work out as planned. But life does not operate this way. The most meaningful growth happens in spaces of uncertainty, where there are no clear answers, only opportunities for expansion. When a person lets go of the need to control every detail and instead trusts the process, they begin to flow with life rather than against it. Most of what people fear about uncertainty is imagined. The mind creates worst-case scenarios projecting failure, loss, or discomfort. But if one examines past experiences, they will often find that the moments of greatest transformation came from unexpected changes. What once seemed like an obstacle often turned out to be a hidden blessing. The loss of a job led to a better opportunity. A failed relationship opened the door to deeper self-discovery. A sudden challenge revealed inner strength that was previously unknown. Life has a way of unfolding in ways that cannot be predicted, and more often than not, what appears as a difficulty is actually a redirection towards something greater. Embracing change requires shifting perspective. Instead of seeing uncertainty as something dangerous, one can view it as an open field of potential. Every time something changes, new doors open. The people who thrive in life are not the ones who avoid change, but those who adapt to it, who see challenges as opportunities and uncertainty as a space for creativity. They understand that their future is not something to be controlled, but something to be explored. One way to develop comfort with uncertainty is through presence. When a person is fully engaged in the present moment, they are not lost in thoughts about what might happen. They respond to life as it unfolds, making choices with clarity rather than fear. The need for rigid plans fades, replaced by an openness to whatever arises. This does not mean living without direction, but rather holding plans loosely, allowing flexibility and trusting that life will provide what is needed at the right time. The most successful and fulfilled people are those who embrace uncertainty with curiosity rather than fear. They do not wait for everything to be perfect before they take action. They step forward despite the unknown, knowing that life supports those who are willing to grow. When a person understands that change is not a threat but a gift, they unlock their limitless potential. The unknown is not something to escape. It is the very space where the greatest possibilities exist. There is a profound difference between the person you think you are and the deeper presence that is your true self. Most people go through life identified with their thoughts, emotions, roles, and external achievements. They believe they are their successes and failures, their past experiences, and the labels that society has placed upon them. But these are only surface-level identities, constantly changing and never truly defining who they are at their core. Beneath all of these mental constructs is something far more stable, peaceful, and limitless, an inner awareness that is always present, untouched by circumstances. Aligning with your true self means shifting attention away from external validation and mental chatter and toward the stillness within. This deeper awareness is not controlled by fear, doubt, or past conditioning. It is not concerned with comparison or social expectations. It simply is. When you connect with this space, life becomes clearer and flows more effortlessly. You no longer feel the need to prove your worth because you recognize that your worth has never been in question. It is not something you earn, it is something you are. Many people feel stuck in life because they are trying to live according to external expectations rather than their own truth. They chase goals that do not truly fulfill them, follow paths that were laid out by others, and suppress their authentic desires out of fear of judgment. But a limitless future is only possible when you live from a place of authenticity. When you align with your true self, you stop living for approval and start living from purpose. Decisions become easier because they are no longer influenced by external noise, but by an inner knowing. This alignment does not require effort, it requires letting go. Letting go of old identities, limiting beliefs, and the need to control outcomes. It means releasing the false stories the mind tells about who you should be, and instead allowing yourself to be as you are. The more you let go of resistance, the more life naturally unfolds in a way that supports your growth and fulfillment. One of the clearest signs that you are not aligned with your true self is a sense of struggle. When life feels forced, when every step forward is met with resistance, it is often because you are moving in a direction that is not truly yours. But when you are in alignment, even challenges feel meaningful. There is an inner peace, a sense of trust that life is unfolding exactly as it should. Opportunities arise effortlessly, and what once seemed impossible begins to happen with ease. The mind often complicates life, creating endless problems and doubts. But the true self is simple, present, and free. It does not operate from fear or scarcity, but from a deep knowing that all is well. This is where true power lies, not in trying to control the future, but in being fully present now. When you align with this deeper presence, your future expands beyond limits. You are no longer a prisoner of past conditioning or external expectations. You step into a space where anything is possible, not because you are forcing it to happen, but because you are allowing life to unfold through you. People often live with a deep attachment to outcomes, believing that their happiness, success, or sense of fulfillment depends on achieving specific goals. They set expectations for how life should unfold, how relationships should progress, or how their careers should develop. When things do not go according to plan, they experience frustration, disappointment, and even suffering. But this attachment to outcomes is an illusion. It creates unnecessary resistance and limits the flow of life. True freedom comes when one learns to focus on the present journey rather than obsessing over future results. The mind is constantly projecting into the future, imagining scenarios, setting conditions for happiness, and attaching meaning to external achievements. It says, I will be happy when I get this job, or I will feel successful when I reach this goal. But when those milestones are reached, the satisfaction is often temporary, and the mind quickly moves on to the next desire. This cycle creates a state of endless seeking, where happiness is always just out of reach. The problem is not in having goals, but in tying one's sense of self-worth and inner peace to their achievement. When a person becomes too attached to outcomes, they lose sight of the present moment. They miss opportunities for growth, joy, and fulfillment that exist now. Life becomes a series of expectations rather than an experience to be lived fully. But when one detaches from rigid outcomes and focuses instead on the process, life unfolds in ways that are often greater than anything the mind could have planned. The most beautiful experiences, opportunities, and relationships often arise unexpectedly, not through control, but through openness. Letting go of attachment does not mean giving up ambition or becoming passive. It means acting with full commitment and presence while remaining open to whatever unfolds. It is the difference between planting a seed and trusting it to grow versus constantly digging it up to check if it is sprouting fast enough. When a person does their best and then surrenders the outcome, they move through life with ease rather than stress. They recognize that success is not just about achieving specific results, but about the person they become in the process. One way to practice detachment from outcomes is to shift focus from what will happen to how one shows up in each moment. Instead of saying, "I must achieve this goal," one can say, "I will give my best effort and trust the process." Instead of saying, "I need this situation to work out," one can say, "I am open to whatever is meant for me." This shift in mindset creates a sense of peace because it removes the pressure of needing things to happen in a certain way. Life often works in ways that the mind cannot predict. What seems like a failure may be a redirection towards something greater. What seems like a delay may be preparation for something better. When a person releases attachment to specific outcomes, they create space for new possibilities. They no longer live in fear of things not going according to plan because they trust that whatever happens is part of their path. And in that trust, they discover true freedom, the freedom to live fully in the present, knowing that life will unfold exactly as it should. Gratitude is one of the most powerful ways to shift perspective and open oneself to a limitless future. Many people focus on what they lack, what is missing, or what has not yet been achieved. Their minds are constantly seeking more success, more validation, more certainty. While ambition and growth are natural, an excessive focus on what is lacking creates a feeling of dissatisfaction and limitation. Gratitude, on the other hand, transforms this mindset. It shifts attention from scarcity to abundance, from fear to trust, and from limitation to possibility. When a person cultivates gratitude, they begin to see life differently. Instead of waiting for things to be better before they feel happy, they start appreciating what is already present. This simple shift creates a profound impact. The moment one stops focusing on what is missing and starts acknowledging what is already here, they move from a state of lack to a state of fulfillment. They realize that life is already offering countless gifts: breath, health, relationships, opportunities, and experiences. Even challenges become sources of growth when seen through the lens of gratitude. Gratitude is not about ignoring difficulties or pretending everything is perfect. It is about recognizing that every experience, even the difficult ones, holds value. Struggles often bring wisdom, setbacks create resilience, and moments of uncertainty teach patience. When a person is grateful for everything, not just for what is easy or pleasant, they develop a deep trust in life. They no longer see obstacles as barriers, but as stepping stones, guiding them toward a greater version of themselves. One of the reasons gratitude is so powerful is that it changes the way the mind works. The brain is naturally wired to focus on problems and potential threats. This survival instinct, while useful in some situations, can lead to chronic stress and negativity. However, when a person makes gratitude a daily practice, they retrain their mind to focus on the positive. They begin to notice opportunities, appreciate the small joys of life, and feel a deeper sense of peace. Science has even shown that gratitude improves mental and physical health, reduces stress, and increases overall happiness. Practicing gratitude does not require anything external to change. It is simply a shift in awareness. It can be as simple as pausing each morning to reflect on 3 things to be grateful for, or taking a moment before bed to acknowledge the blessings of the day. Writing in a gratitude journal, expressing appreciation to others, or simply feeling thankful in the present moment are all ways to cultivate this powerful state of mind. The most successful and fulfilled people do not necessarily have more than others. They simply recognize and appreciate what they have. They are not waiting for external achievements to bring them happiness because they have already found joy in the present. This does not mean they stop striving for growth, but they approach life with a sense of completeness rather than lack. They understand that gratitude is not just a reaction to good things happening, it is a way of being. A limitless future begins with a mindset of abundance. When a person is grateful, they are no longer focused on what is missing, but on what is possible. They see life as a gift, and in doing so, they attract even more to be grateful for. The more one appreciates, the more life gives. This is the power of gratitude. It unlocks a future filled with endless possibilities. Many people go through life feeling disconnected from themselves, from others, and from the world around them. They live in their minds, caught in cycles of overthinking, worry, and self-doubt. They search for meaning in achievements, material success, or external validation, only to find that these things never bring lasting fulfillment. The truth is, true power, joy, and freedom come from being fully present. When a person cultivates presence, they access a deep sense of clarity, inner peace, and connection to the limitless possibilities that life offers. Presence is the ability to be fully engaged in this moment, rather than dwelling on the past or anxiously anticipating the future. The mind is often caught in time-based thinking, reliving past mistakes, replaying memories, or constructing endless scenarios about what may or may not happen. But life is never happening in the past or future. It is only happening now. The more a person trains their awareness to stay in the present, the more alive and limitless they feel. One of the greatest barriers to presence is identification with thought. Many people believe they are their thoughts, assuming that every mental narrative must be true. But thoughts are simply patterns of the mind, conditioned by past experiences, societal influences, and unconscious fears. When a person realizes that they are not their thoughts, but the awareness that observes them, a profound shift occurs. They are no longer controlled by limiting beliefs, emotional reactions, or habitual worries. They become free to experience life directly without the filter of mental noise. Cultivating presence does not mean ignoring responsibilities or failing to plan for the future. It means approaching life with greater awareness, responding to situations as they arise rather than reacting from conditioned patterns. When someone is truly present, they bring their full energy to whatever they are doing, whether they are having a conversation, working on a project, or simply enjoying nature. They are fully engaged rather than being lost in mental distractions. This depth of attention enhances creativity, deepens relationships, and creates a profound sense of fulfillment. One way to develop presence is through conscious breathing. The breath is always in the present moment. It does not exist in the past or future. By focusing on the rhythm of the breath, one can anchor themselves in the now, breaking free from the mind's endless stream of thoughts. Meditation, mindfulness practices, and simply pausing throughout the day to notice sensations, sounds, and emotions can also strengthen presence. The more one practices, the more natural it becomes. When a person lives with presence, they move beyond self-imposed limitations. They are no longer held back by fear, doubt, or regrets. They see life with clarity, respond to challenges with calmness, and embrace opportunities with openness. Presence allows them to trust the unfolding of life, knowing that everything they need is already available in this moment. A limitless future is not something to be chased, it is something to be realized now. The more a person embraces presence, the more they unlock their true potential. They no longer seek fulfillment in distant goals or external achievements, but find it in the richness of each moment. And when they live fully in the now, they discover that life itself is limitless. A limitless future is not something that exists far away. It is something that begins within. Every person has the power to break free from limiting beliefs, embrace uncertainty, align with their true self, and trust the unfolding of life. The key is not in controlling outcomes or fearing the unknown, but in living with gratitude, presence, and openness to endless possibilities. The mind often creates barriers, telling stories of what is possible and what is not. But these stories are just thoughts, not reality. The moment a person stops identifying with their fears and self-imposed limitations, they step into their true power. They realize that life is not meant to be a struggle, but an ever unfolding journey of growth and discovery. When one lets go of attachment to outcomes, embraces change, and learns to trust the present moment, they unlock a new way of living. One that is not dictated by past conditioning or external expectations. They move through life with confidence, knowing that everything they need is already within them. They no longer see obstacles as barriers, but as stepping stones, leading to even greater possibilities. A limitless future is not something to be achieved, it is something to be realized. The only limits that exist are the ones the mind creates. When a person chooses to step beyond fear, beyond doubt, and beyond old beliefs, they discover a truth that has always been there. They are limitless. And once they embrace this truth, there is nothing they cannot become, create, or experience.